Hello, my name is Cesaro, and welcome back to Let's Play Dissidia. Last time, we finished off with the intro, so let's get into the proper tutorial. Yeah, I know. So anyways, we are back to lightning once again. So let's get into it.
The divine conflict between harmony and discord rages on. The fate of the world its promised prize. Fighting to secure it, our brave souls summoned for that solitary purpose. Champions, cut from a cloth different from those which form the fabric of our world. These warriors from afar are helpless but to do as bid, waging battle after endless battle for the gods who called them here, granted neither respite nor reprieve. Relying on what fragments of their shattered memories remain, they fight to end the conflict, and for a chance to return home to the worlds they each once knew. What they cannot know is that they fight in vain. This war is one without end, and it is their fate to serve forever until at last their ebbing strength gives way.
Hey, Tifa? You figure they all made it to Cosmos by now?
I guess they could have. You must be tired, huh?
Of course I am. Laguna led us down the scenic road. I don't know what you were thinking.
Yeah, I could have sworn this was the quick route. Guess not.
Yeah, guess not.
Well, it can't really be that much farther from here, can it? I think I've seen this place before.
Right? See there? Yuna knows what's up. We went a little out of our way, but we're still on track. No need to complain.
Yuna, you ought to let him know what you really think. It's for his own good.
Lightning, time to stop sulking.
Who's sulking?
Had Laguna not taken charge, we might well never have made it this far. Perhaps his words were mostly false, but even so, they moved us, and that's why we're here.
I know that. Thanks for the refresher. Kane. Cosmos called us again. Why do you suppose that is?
Who knows?
I intend to win this fight. I win, and I get my memory back. I get to go back home. I keep telling myself that, just like everyone else. But you know, now that I've been here a while, sometimes I have to wonder if winning really means we'll get to go back home at all. If it might be that winning won't change a thing. I can't help but wonder.
What's this? Is it really possible our lightning's as human as the rest of us?
What?
Look, we've all got our worries, but we're trying to do what we can. You gonna lead us now? Or are you leaving that up to me?
Anything but that.
Don't sweat it. We'll figure something out. Long as we stay alive, things are bound to work out, right?
I trust our once wayward guide. He speaks from experience.
Thanks.
Shall we then? Relax. Our battle will not be ended so easily.
No, that it won't.
And with the introduction to the Dissidia crew out of the way, let me just say that Laguna is the best character. That's just how it is. I'm sorry if you disagree. However, that's it. Lightning is probably unique in this crew, since that she is a main character. Whoops. She is a main character in her own game. But there isn't actually a Final Fantasy main villain in Dissidia. So she just kinda gets tagged on here. Yuna, of course, should probably be... Whoops, sorry Yuna. Yuna should be the main character for Final Fantasy X in this game. But she's not. Tidus is actually the guy. And that's actually pretty sad because she is probably the most important person in Final Fantasy X. But there you go. Let's talk to Yuna. Cheer up a little bit. So, Cosmos is the good god, and the evil god is Chaos. Cosmos is unique to Dissidia, and she's probably the only character that is unique to Dissidia, considering that Chaos is actually from Final Fantasy 1. Oh, let's see. Alright, so I forgot to mention these little orbs. Destroying 4 of these orbs gives me a skill. Skills are consumable items that I can use while I'm in a gate. And these circular things are gates. But before we go into that, let's listen to Kane for a little bit. One last thing before I exit the overworld map. It functions similarly to the in-battle arenas, except I cannot jump here, but I can dodge and I can attack. But I cannot block either. Not that that's a huge loss, because blocking is not a technique I rely on often. But with that said, let's move on into the game. Right, so this is where a great deal of the game will be taking place. Well, not this specific gate, of course, but in this format. So we have this chess-like grid, where we can move around pretty freely. Here we'll be meeting the greatest number of our enemies, and also the greatest number of treasures. Speaking of which, let's open this one. Oh, well, what? No. Thankfully, the chest didn't explode like Laguna suggested. Instead, it contained a broadsword. So this is a fighting game, and it is a Final Fantasy game, so of course there is equipment. So let's check it out. Oh. Well, before we check out the equipment, let's take a closer look at what lightning can actually do. So, in Dissidia, character growth is based on levels, so that means that by defeating opponents, you get experience. But we'll also get attacks and abilities that we can equip. These attacks are split into either land abilities or air abilities, and they are further split into HP attacks or bravery attacks. For now, we don't actually have any additional attacks to equip, but that's okay, because I can still show off how it works. As you can see, I have something called capacity points, and each attack and ability has this capacity point meter to the right, signifying the cost of the ability or attack being equipped. That said, And that ultimately means that there is a limit to how much I can equip on a character. But that said, capacity points will increase as we level up, and we can further decrease the cost of abilities by mastering them. You master an ability by having it equipped and finishing battles, which will result in all the equipped abilities and attacks earning ability points. As you can see, Blitz only require 100 ability points to be mastered, and mastered abilities have their capacity points cost reduced by half. You can also unlock mastering abilities can also unlock additional attacks that is linked to the attack that has been mastered. However, lightning is fairly unique. Lightning can change paradigms in mid-battle, and changing paradigms changes the attacks that she can do. So that means that she has 3 sets of attacks to equip. However, medics are really bad, so I will never ever. Actually, I should just disable this, because I'm not going to use medic ever. Ravager is a little bit different. However, we only have Fire and Waterer, and those abilities kinda suck. So if I had other abilities to equip instead, I should be unequipping these, so I have more capacity points but those other abilities to equip. Finally, Commando is where I spend most of my fighting time. It is probably the best paradigm that Lightning has, considering she is wielding a sword. A gun sword, actually. So yeah, basic abilities comes in 3 sorts. These are the actions that we can do that is not related to attacking. As you can see, I can unequip evasion if I'm completely insane, and I can also unequip blocking. I don't know why you would, because evasion is probably the best action you can actually do. And blocking is really good for opening up opportunities to attack enemies. Emerald Recovery will allow you to recover from being thrown through the air by an enemy attack. And so that really just means that the things you really have to think about is what dash ability to equip. Right now we can only dash towards an opponent, but if I were to equip the reverse free air dash, I can dash away from an opponent. But I'm not a coward, so I will never use that ability. At least not for lightning. Secondarily, you have the support, which should help you out, technically. But most of them pretty much just automates some of the abilities you can already do on your own. And by equipping the support abilities, that will mean that you'll lose control of your character. Because sometimes it is just better to fly through the air instead of recovering instantly. Lastly, we have extra abilities, of which I have none. So let's not talk about them quite yet. So in short, I only have 4 attacks that I can really use as lightning. Well, 6 if you count the Ravager abilities, 7 if you count the medic, but I don't use either of those. So for now, battles are going to be somewhat repetitive, and I'm sorry for that, but that's really nothing I can do about that. So, equipment. Equipment raises some of our stats. The most common stats that will be raised will be health, bravery, attack, defense, and luck. I don't think I've ever seen any equipment raise capacity points, so I don't really know why it's even shown here. So, health is pretty explanatory, so I'm not even going to insult your intelligence by explaining what it does. Bravery is the natural bravery that we start a battle with. Attack is the attack power of our bravery attacks, since HP attacks is dependent on your bravery. Defense is the opposite of attack, and it will reduce the amount of bravery damage we take. Finally, luck will increase our drop rates, and it's possible that it will also increase the critical strike chance, but I don't actually know that. But I could see that working. And that's all there is to equipment right now. With that, I think we are done here, except for one last opportunity to talk to Kane. So let's do that. Well, that was enlightening. Get it? Anyways. We really should be done here. This symbol signifies the end of this gate. This symbol can be very different depending on what it contains, but for now, it just contains the exit. And since this is the end of the initial tutorial, I will be saying my goodbyes here and let you watch the cutscene. So for then, I hope to see you next time.
We've arrived.
The others must be here already. Let's go.
Hope they didn't get tired of waiting.
A little distance can be good for a relationship, you know?
Let's hope they see it that way.
Come on.
Well, maybe I was a bit too quick to say goodbye. But anyways, we are now done with the tutorial properly. Well, almost. There's a certain thing that has been mentioned in the thread. Something X thingy, I can't remember. But we'll be getting into that next time. However, I hope you're not tired of Lightning yet, because we're still playing as her. So, this time, it's finally goodbye. I'll see you next time.